Underdog is the leading place to make all your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog, and it's easy. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose strikeouts, total bases, or home runs, or go higher or lower on three-pointers or rebounds. You can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. This week, I'm looking at baseball, and as usual, Aaron Judge is my choice to go higher on the stats that involve his hitting. Download the Underdog app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code GARAGE to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code GARAGE. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncp.gambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
And nominated is as far as it'll ever go.
Oh, we might have breaking news very soon.
What?
Yeah, good. You can go.
Omaha, here we come.
The Knack Hardware and Lounge brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1548 is what I have today, fellas. 1548.
Yes, sir.
May 20th, 2025, 94 degrees on this day in 2009. That's the second day in a row. 31 degrees. Now, bear this in mind. 31 degrees on the morning of this day in 1892, and also on this day in 1892. If you think today's raw, 3 inches of snow.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
What number, bruh?
1548.
Thank you.
I have a test for all of you, right off the bat, based on this naming of fires, brief controversy, and only because I was wrong. You have to name them so you know where they are and whatever. So Jesse writes this email. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you!
Reavers calmly lights a candle on the corner of the stately desk in the office above the boathouse of Spoon Lake, pausing to take in its resplendent glow. The mayor, deliberately shuffling his papers around at his desk, is dutifully preparing his topics for the pending daily oration to the citizens of Gumption County. Heidt, sitting in the seasoned leather wingback chair, quietly strums and tunes his guitar as the sun starts to gleam through the boathouse east window, which Kenny slides open to take in the crisp, stimulating late spring morning air. Rookie takes the yo-yo off his finger and proceeds to set down the tape measure on the desk. He was measuring his skull. But his blundering motion clips the edge of the desk and clobbers the candle over. In a sequence that can only be described as malevolent predestination with a dash of rookie influence, the mayor, abruptly startled, turns to justifiably address Rookie following his graceful stunt, just as a breeze blows through the conveniently open window and takes some of the mayor's old business from his desk to the candle flame. Ooh. In what seems like an instant, the desk is set alight. Here's the question. What does the mayor first see and therefore decree as the name of this fire?
Judas Priest.
I didn't see Judas Priest. I'm gathering that Jesse's
candle.
He has something in mind, almost like this is a test.
Candle.
Spiral candle.
Well, the first, what would I see?
It was a spiral candle. It was probably the WD or the garage one. The cylinder index.
In what seems like an instant, the desk is set alight.
Okay.
What does the mayor first see and therefore decree as the name of this fire?
The gavel. You see your gavel on the...
The gavel fire. That's not bad. The gavel fire.
Because you're decreeing it.
Aha. You think there was a hint in the word decree?
I do.
Boathouse candle fire.
Yeah, boathouse candle fire.
Yeah, boathouse.
Pink bluebird plow candle.
Show prep fire.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I do.
That only includes you, but we want to include all of us.
Why do you think he's got Heidt playing the guitar, you playing with a yo-yo, and Kenny trying to open a window?
Because we're doing anything but working. Pretty accurate.
I'll go with the boathouse fire.
Wait, so there's not an answer?
No,
Oh.
I think it's up to us.
Okay.
It's the boathouse fire.
Well, yeah, it's in the boathouse.
Yeah. But what is the first thing I see? Well, I see Rookie's fat ass running from
Right, trying to pat it
from
down.
the scene. I
Who
guess
would
it's-
leap into action, do you think, out of our select crew?
Well, I know right where the fire extinguisher is, so I'd calmly walk over that. And on my way to the fire, I'd grab the fire blanket. So now I've got two ways to calmly put out this
Rookie's
fire.
eating lunch.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got to have lunch.
I
Don't,
get my lunch away from it.
can't
right
be
away.
bothered.
the boathouse fire, and let's hope we never have one.
What's the correct answer?
There is,
You just-
he did not
we have
offer
to
one.
make our own
He
up,
did not
apparently.
offer an answer.
It was a test with.
I'm going with either the gavel fire or the boathouse fire, because the gavel might be the first thing I see as the flames erupt on my desk.
So we're all winners?
Yeah, there's no losers in GL. Governor Walz and Democratic and Republican leaders did reach an agreement on state budget targets that does not eliminate non-public pupil aid. So the non-public schools will continue to get the crumbs that they've been receiving. Which they may be crumbs, but the non-public schools need those crumbs, and apparently they will continue to be furnished. Remember, I get letters from people who say that violates the state constitution, that no state money should be used in any religious capacity, for example.
But it's not. It's not being used as
It's
a
not being,
retreat.
it's not being used to proselytize.
correct.
It's being used for school buses,
Day-to-day operations.
some books that the state probably mandates you should have, and maybe a counselor or a nurse. End of story.
Boom.
And it's been in place for 50 years, and I'm grateful that it will continue to be available to the non-public schools.
Yes.
Why is Chrief O'Hara getting so much grief for pointing out the obvious? And Walz is getting grief, too. Governor Cockwomble is getting grief from Jewish organizations pointing out that why were you using the term Gestapo to describe ICE agents? The Gestapo conjures up bad optics.
I don't think you want to mess with World War II and all that other stuff and use it as a... It's not the same.
But O'Hara is calling out the bizarre progressive ideology that overtook City Hall following the death of George Floyd. Now, he's telling this to the New York Post. Now, there's a part of me that wonders, he can't be so naive as to think that talking to the New York Post would have remained only in New York. In other words, you say anything today anywhere in the world, it's going to be heard instantly anywhere in the world.
But do you think anybody at the Star Tribune has asked him those questions?
No, because I think the Star Tribune is full of progressive ideology and wishes to be a contributor to the bourgeoisie progressive
The
ideology.
The bougie?
The bougie.
So, yeah, he probably just answered honestly, and nobody has bothered to ask him those specific questions before. That would be my guess.
The Post spoke with Minneapolis law enforcement and business owners as the city approaches the 5-year anniversary of George Floyd's death, which sparked global protests and riots by the Black Lives Matter movement. O'Hara, who had previously served in Newark, New Jersey, joined the Minneapolis Police Department as its chief in November of 2022. Even though he came from a far-left city, Newark, O'Hara said he was unprepared for how politicized policing in Minneapolis had become, saying that a bourgeois liberal mentality had made it difficult for reality and facts to break through. I can't find one single fault in that statement.
So who exactly is finding fault?
Well, let's read and find out.
It's one good way.
Good tease.
Here it's very, very ideological, and a lot of times it's like reality and facts can't get through the filter. It's a very detached, bourgeois, liberal mentality. It's bizarre, he told the Post. There's been an unbelievable amount of trauma here from the destruction of the city that immediately followed Floyd's death and the explosion of violence that came, O'Hara said. The department faced an exodus of police officers in the aftermath of Floyd's death, reaching its lowest staffing level in 4 decades, as a mass anti-police sentiment and calls to defund the police swept the nation. Members of the progressive-leaning Minneapolis City Council criticized O'Hara's remarks, Kenny.
Well, there you go.
They criticized the chief's remarks to the Star Tribune, which I would imagine was only too happy to print them, right? I don't know. Now, here's a fellow I dearly want on the air, and I'm not sure that you're doing enough about it, Reavers.
I'm listening.
No. I'm not sure you're doing enough to get me this guest. I think Jason Chavez, seriously, would be a very interesting guest.
Okay. I'll send out a 6th request to have Jason on the show.
Oh, he's got 2 more than Walls, huh?
Well, but again, it's we get emails from people all the time and say you should have such and such. Well, that's great. We'd love to.
But here's what Jason Chavez said about O'Hara's remarks.
Invitation.
Now, Chavez, remember, was inspired to run for office after Floyd's death. We had never heard of this fellow before. He called the police chief's words not only disrespectful, but counterproductive and condescending.
To whom?
I don't know, because they're not. What is? I would love to talk to Jason Chavez. I really am getting focused in on that. What I want to know what he envisions. What would make him happy?
Do you think he has the mental fortitude to come on this show?
Yes.
Where people are going to ask him really tough questions.
Yes, I do.
If he can't even handle what the chief said. Yeah, I know.
Sign him up.
I mean, if he's so, I don't know, dainty that he can't handle what the chief said, there's no way he's coming on this show.
Well, he continues. These comments directed at our residents. Well, Jason, I'm not sure they were directed at the residents. They were directed at the likes of you, for example, or the mayor, or City Hall in general. These comments directed at our residents fail to meet the moment we are in, when people's rights are under attack from the federal government. Okay, so Chavez, like all Mysterians, is finding Trump in this somehow. He's finding Trump in O'Hara's remarks. And our communities are rightfully pushing back. Council President Elliott Payne took issue. Council President Elliott Payne took issue with O'Hara's remarks, telling the Star Tribune, some people come into their politics through a more academic process, others through solidarity, others through lived experience, Payne said. No matter how people develop their core values, one should have a deeper understanding of the diverse perspectives of our community before engaging in conversations with New York tabloids. Well, Payne's full of BS. There's nothing wrong with the Minneapolis police chief agreeing to an interview with a New York newspaper. And so far, I can find no reason to understand that O'Hara's been disrespectful to anybody. You have a progressive ideological mentality that is systematically ruining Minneapolis. What were you saying before the show? We were off air. You had just come in,
Yep.
and you said we were at the ballpark 10 years ago.
Here's what I said to Joe, you guys. Rook will remember this. I doubt John and Ken will, because, Johnny, I don't remember if you were there or not. 10 years ago today, or it popped up in my timeline, we were at Target Field doing either opening day or something regarding with the Twins.
Well, it wouldn't have been opening day.
Right. Well, anyway, we were at Target Field roughly 10 years ago. It was around opening day of 2015, because I was there. William at the time was 3, and Leland was not even 1. And we were there. We did the show from the not the concourse, but the press box area. It was fantastic. We went to the game. Well, some of us went to the game. And then I remember taking Jess and the boys out for a late lunch, early dinner after the game was over. Downtown was vibrant. It was fun. We had such a great time. And I'm thinking, man, that just seems like forever ago. And it was, 10 years ago was a long time. And I just thought, what downtown and what Minneapolis and Minnesota has become to this point in time now, what's it going to be like 10 years from now? And it's, I guess, and I love downtown. That's why I decided to work in Minneapolis.
But isn't it like that now during games when the Timberwolves are playing and the Twins are playing?
That's the thing, Kenny. It's not. I went to...
Well, tonight would be festive, wouldn't it? I guess, it's raining.
They'll have a downtown, a watch party and whatnot. But the whole strip around Hennepin and all of that, Ken, has changed so much. Now, the North Loop area is pretty good. It's thriving. But I guess I just see it so differently now.
Well, what day it was opening day where we were in a bar downtown. I don't remember the name of the bar, but we did the show and it was packed. You couldn't find parking.
I think that was opening day of the stadium, which would have been 2010.
Okay, but I remember it was a madhouse.
Yeah.
You couldn't park anywhere. But the two answers to your question is it's going to get worse or it's going to get better. It's a stupid answer, but
thanks.
Which way are we going to...
No, I agree.
Which way are we going to go?
I fear it's the latter. I don't think it's going to get better. I really don't.
Didn't I say...
Wait.
Better.
Whatever.
The first one, yeah.
Sergeant Gary Parton, an MPD spokesperson, clarified O'Hara's remarks in a statement. As the chief has said previously, policing in the city has become over-politicized, making it difficult to even discuss the need for effective and adequately resourced police without it being viewed through a rigid ideological lens, Parton said. I happen to agree with Parton. Everything is looked at through a rigid ideological lens. They just passed an ordinance protecting overweight people and people either too tall or too short. Everything is, that's the disconnect. Not with residents, but with political narratives that overshadow the real and urgent safety concerns residents are living every day. In January, the Minneapolis City Council unanimously approved an agreement with the Biden administration to overhaul the city's police training and use of force policies, building on changes that the force has already made since former Officer Chauvin was found guilty of murdering Floyd during a May 2020 arrest. I wonder, I think the Floyd week, was really, obviously, so powerful.
Yeah.
Optically powerful, life experience powerful, that's when the city turned. It just turned. And I don't see it coming back.
Are you factoring in COVID, too?
No, I'm so tired of using COVID for everything. I bleep COVID.
But remember,
the Floyd weekend happened. Well, the Floyd weekend happened right in the middle of right in the middle of COVID.
Do you guys remember the conversation we had the Tuesday after that Memorial Day? Because I need to ask you guys. I was thinking about using that as a best of since it's the 5-year anniversary, but that's a conversation for another time.
I don't remember what we said.
Point being, you had said maybe not the day after, but the week leading after the conversations where everyone was so pent up. There was so much unexpected. We didn't know what was going to happen. We had all been basically secluded to our homes with our families. We weren't able to do the normal things, that there was just this bubble that was ready to burst, and Floyd was the pin that burst that bubble. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to that effect.
And with COVID, remember, the pent-up feelings might have been the result of this country never reacted to a virus before,
right?
The way it reacted
to
COVID
in 2020. Yep, you're 100% right.
The country never shut down, never went to a mask mandate, never went to anything.
Never issued papers.
Issued papers. We had travel papers.
We did. I still have mine.
I never was called on to actually display mine, but I had one.
Do you still have yours?
I wish I did. I don't.
Tucked mine away.
Yeah.
I did too.
We have your papers.
Where are your papers?
Please.
So that pent-up feeling might very well have come from that too.
Yep.
That what people instinctively knew something was wrong with the ebb and flow of American life. And then you have this highly visual, visceral optics of the Floyd arrest and the kneeling, and the next thing you know, everything's on fire.
Right.
But since then, there's been no voice of reason in Minneapolis. Zero. So anything O'Hara says, I don't find any fault with it whatsoever. And these morons on the city council, they seem to be confronted with the idea that how could anything we think be taken so disrespectfully by the police chief? Well, because you're idiots. And you're not doing anything that addresses the needs of average tax-paying people. Same with the legislature. They're going into an extra session. They're not over there worried about you. They're over there worried about their own ideologies.
When judging O'Hara, is it worth me mentioning that he also backed up what Katie Blackwell was saying about the teaching of the maneuver in the court case? And he backed her up, and then when the judge threw that out, she admitted, yeah, maybe that was.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to kind of keep that in mind, don't you?
Yes.
To what end, I don't know.
I suppose that was the chief being loyal to his troops.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't think you have this problem in Sioux Falls. Let me see if I have Sioux Falls today.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Look at the numbers. No state, corporate, or personal income tax. No inheritance tax. No limits to what your business can achieve. South Dakota is very business friendly. Sioux Falls is fast growing, almost 300,000 people with a ready and willing workforce. If you're thinking about starting a business, expanding your current business, moving your business, you might want to check out Sioux Falls. We're playing a video right now. I don't know what that says.
The text is, give me that website Joe is touting about Sioux Falls. This is a good friend of mine that owns a business in southern Minnesota.
Well, it's SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
There you go, Chuck.
And, it's by Forbes magazine. It's the best small city for business and careers. That attitude does not seem to exist here, given the Democratic majority and given who will continue to run the Twin Cities. So do your own homework, but fabulous offers in Sioux Falls. SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Well, I was on K-Bid all over again yesterday looking for goodies and checking prices. IMHO auction prices are the true indication of the value of an item. That's what I always base it on. And whatever you might be looking for, there's a pretty good chance you'll find it on K-Bid. By the way, that's K-Bid.com. K-Bid. Yesterday, or was it this morning? I don't know. I was looking for a piece of farm machinery, and the next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later, and I'm knee deep in auction goodies, looking at all the stuff I need to bid on. Perusing K-Bid, I got to tell you, it's way more fun than doom scrolling Facebook or Twitter. They are the online auction house where you can bid on just about anything you want: business liquidations, estate treasures, farm stuff, real estate, you name it. They've sold it all. Brand new airplanes, old antique dishes, check and check. There's new items added every day for you to peruse. The best part, it's all free and it's super easy to register. Just head to k-bid.com, create the account, and then start bidding and buying and bragging about the amazing deal you just got. People really love checking out the online auctions without all the hassles of driving around the country attending these things. K-bid.com, K-Bid, where the next great deal is just a bid away.
It seems to be becoming a very popular national conversation about who exactly ran the country when Biden was president.
I'd love to know the answer to this.
Obama.
And I always assumed that he wasn't. I never believed much in Biden. He's a career bureaucrat. He's never really left a positive mark on this country. John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd like to know one. Dating back to when he was a senator, I don't know what he offered.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what he offered this country. He's just a professional bureaucrat, and then he was given this presidency or told to run. But it was quite clear that he was incapacitated, and so we always assumed somebody was pulling the strings. I guess our contention would have been Obama.
Yeah.
Right? Or was it the Dr. Jill? He was on The View with Dr. Jill a few weeks ago.
He didn't fare too well.
I saw some video clips of it, and he couldn't answer questions, and she would step in and answer the questions. Why would she drag that poor fossil to The View? And what president would need to go on a show and bring along the wife to answer his questions? Why don't they?
Remember, she held the State of the State address or whatever it was. Remember the meeting she held?
Yeah.
In his absence?
Why don't they let the poor guy sit in his rocking chair and just,
Drool?
Yeah.
Right.
He can't function. It's a shame. He's ill. And the Federalist has done a big piece on the easiest thing Republicans can do right now is find out who was running the country for 4 years. I guess I'm puzzled as to why that would benefit us to know that. I guess it's called the biggest political scandal in history.
Well, some are calling for his White House doctor to be subpoenaed to find out where he was.
The same thing happened to Reagan last year or so that he was in office.
He wasn't as sharp. I would agree.
Alzheimer's was catching up with him.
According to the Federalist, this isn't just a story about a former president becoming sick. It's a story about a White House that for years appears to have actively concealed both cognitive and physical incapacitation from the American public with the help of a propaganda press. If Biden was in office while battling an aggressive cancer and cognitive decline, then the scope of this cover-up is even bigger than we thought. While there are a million questions, like who was actually making all the decisions for 4 years that the left is desperately trying to let pass unanswered. There is one question that can and must be answered first. Is the GOP Congress going to start issuing subpoenas and deposing witnesses to determine who was illegally signing presidential orders while Biden's medical condition was being hidden? The Federalist CEO and co-founder Sean Davis asked in a post on X. Well, even if we find that out, what would be the ramifications of that?
Right.
Matt Walsh said in a post on X, we need Congress to actually do something finally, full investigation, pull every Biden staffer and official into a hearing, put them under oath. Jill Biden, too, his doctors, everyone. Who was involved in this cover-up? How deep did it go? And most importantly, who was actually running the country for the past 4 years? We survived the 4 years. They were uneventful in terms of anything meaningful. They were, they were eventful for the sharp turn to the green movement, for example, and the
yes.
So you already got a guy in office right now who's going to undo that anyway.
Right.
So what are we doing here? What's going on?
That's what we got to find out.
I think what people are angry about is the way that the people around Biden were lying so frequently and so easily. And I guess you could argue that Congress is obligated to find out such things. What would be the outcome of finding it out? What are you going to do?
Well, I would like just full disclosure. We can't do anything about it, but wouldn't you I would like to know, just because we should know if the head of our country can't do it.
I've been looking while you've been talking for information on President Biden's daily briefings, how many people attended, who was there, what were the briefings like. I can't find anything at all. I can find for all the other presidents, but nothing about Biden. I don't know why that. I'm not suggesting there's a conspiracy. I'm just.
I think what it taught me is that these are people quite evidently, on the third rail. And they have so little to do with us that it was very natural for them to have engineered this false presidency.
Just kind of pat us on the head.
Yeah, because we don't count. This was a movement by people who are insulated from the normal American get up and go to work travails. They have nothing to do with it. They live a life of their own, and they felt comfortable in some ways of getting away with pretending that Biden was president, and then either they had groupthink that ran things, or there was one individual who ran things, or they went to somebody for guidance. But it was clear that Biden was not capable of doing it.
They trotted him out for debates. Mm-hmm. And then they had the gall to act surprised and stunned and disappointed when Trump won the election.
Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out, deeply sourced from Democratic sources, that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities. In the final year of your presidency, what is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. Number two, think of what we were left with. We were left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started, not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying. And we're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues, and which I won't go into in the interest of time. And so we went to work, and we got it done. And one of the things Alyssa,
one of the things I think is that
This
The
is
people
Jill.
who wrote those books were not in the White House with us. And they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day.
Awesome.
I mean, he'd get up, he'd put in a full day, and then at night I'd be in bed, reading my book, and he was still on the phone reading his briefings, working with staff. I mean, it was nonstop. It's the White House. Being president is not like a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a life that you live. You live it 24 hours a day. That phone can ring at 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning. It's constant. You never leave it. And Joe worked really hard. I think he was a great president. And if you look at things today...
That's enough.
Yeah, but shib in the middle.
It's, she's lying. To me, she's lying.
Can I pick out something? When they say us, when Jill says us, as if,
Well, she might have been in there.
But I have the same problem when I hear other spouses say that about other given professions. Well, we decided, or it was hard on us.
Well, when I'm having a hard time...
We're pregnant.
Yes, thank you.
She's lying. She knows she's lying. Who the hell knows what Biden thinks? And everybody on that show, from the host to the producers and everybody, including everybody in the audience, know that was a load of BS, that was a lie. And yet they sit there and applaud. Nobody's willing to tell the truth.
No, people seemed very easy of that audience, though. God knows who those people are. I have no idea who would actually want to go to that show. That was The View. I don't understand why it has any appeal at all. But it does, apparently, right? It's
to the left, yes.
Yeah.
They've got one conservative voice, and she's usually shouted down by Joy Behar, who was a royal PIA.
But she's a world-class idiot. She's really legitimately not smart at all.
Yeah. And all they want to do is a rip. I mean, I don't care. It's what ABC chooses to do, and they're making money on it, I suppose. But
well, see if I can link this to what I was saying before. To me, they are a group of people. I don't think it's that much different for the Republicans. They are a group of people who enjoy a special lifestyle that has nothing to do with the American public. And her remarks, what they'll do occasionally is they allow what they think is an accurate view of themselves. So she'll deign to go, Jill is running that show, believe me, with him. So she'll deign to go on a popular TV talk show and tell us, I'll be in bed reading my book and Joe's still on the phone. And Joe he uses the toaster to make a phone call. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And we're supposed to believe this. This is the means they have. The only means they have to identify with the rest of us is come up with some of these cliches. What do you got?
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the... And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lie!
These people are despicable. Everywhere you look in Washington, don't get me wrong. It's everywhere you look. These are people that have gotten away from... They have nothing to do with us. Nothing. This is this theatrical production they're putting on, and they actually think we're buying this BS.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
That's three.
There you go.
That's three. No, and we should be looking for Trump word salads.
We should.
Because he's goofier than a tick, too. So the whole thing is crazy. Everything's crazy. Maybe it always has been. Was Eisenhower nuts? I think not.
Oh.
No. Ike?
How you doing, Eisenhower?
Hey. Yeah. How you doing, Eisenhower?
What good does it serve us then to follow all of this so closely?
I know.
I keep asking you that,
it's just
but
crazy.
Really,
These people are nuts.
the only happy people I run into are the ones that have no idea what's going on, and I really envy them.
Well, then we're in the wrong business.
And they're not dumb people. They're just blissfully They choose to be unaware of what's happening in Washington.
But that's dangerous, too, though, because then they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And then it's too late. I mean,
like I asked earlier, Matthew, by paying attention, how are we better? How does that better serve me? All it's made me is to be bitter and cynical and full of hate, and I hate both parties, and I don't believe anybody. I think everybody is lying.
The problem is at some point it may affect you. That's the problem. I agree with you, Candy. I would love just to ignore everything. But at some point it'll affect you what's going on.
Keep your enemies closer. It's one of those deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But why can I go through my life? I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Twitter. How come I can go through my life and people are sending these political things out and I just don't care. I don't reply to it. It's irrelevant. My poor niece is just over the top anti-Trump, Trump, and I don't respond to it. And when I see her at Memorial Day, I say, hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Right. I don't know why some people are so moved to be so hateful.
Ann Thornton writes, Joe Alex from Precision Garage Door just left my house after successfully repairing our old door. He was very prompt and professional, presenting options that best serve the needs of our home. It was super easy to schedule online, and they were able to come out the next day and immediately repair the door. Very impressed with the quality of service. Mark from Oakdale. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
Mr. Mayor, I just finished my first experience using Precision Garage Door, Minnesota. Yesterday, a cable broke on my garage door mechanism, causing the door to lower at an angle and bending a few rollers. The door could not shut completely, requiring service. I called Precision Door at 3 p.m. Sunday and was met with a very pleasant operator. She scheduled the appointment for between 8 and 10 a.m. the next morning, Monday. To my surprise, the garage door technician arrived exactly at 8. Our wall clock literally chimed as the truck was pulling into the driveway. The technician's name was Adam. It appears you know Adam. I think Adam was the guy in my house. He apparently serviced your garage door a few weeks ago. Adam was pleasant, articulate, organized, and quickly provided me 3 estimates covering additional issues he identified with my system. He did not push the most expensive option or oversell in any way. He suggested the upgrades necessary today, along with some preventative steps. Frankly, I was shocked by the reasonable pricing of the high-end offering, and I easily made that selection. Adam wrapped up in about an hour or so. He even inspected and provided a quick tune-up on my smaller garage door. I'm happy to report I also received a Garage Logic discount. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
My garage door system is now updated and just purrs when she rises and falls. I could not be more pleased with my experience. Thank you, Mayor, for the recommendation. I'd also like to note I've taken Kenny up on Seafoam, Deep Creep, and ProTurf. Very pleased across the board. Now I, too, have a garage door guy, Mark from Oakdale. PrecisionDoorMN.com. Also, let me give you the number. I had it right here. I had the damn number right here. You can call them. It's right here. I got the number.
You got it?
612.
See?
263-6985. PrecisionDoorMN.com.
It's time to play What a Hardware Store.
Swing and a miss. Ann, she's a GLer from Winona. She knows what's up. She knows what's up because she's a GLer. Her daughter came home recently. The whole front of the rig covered in dead, baked-on bugs. Doesn't matter to Ann. She knows the bugs be gone routine. Here, quoting her, we sprayed a healthy dose in the front of the car, let it set about 5 minutes, and voila! Or if you're not new here, Viola.
Viola, I thought it was.
Those bugs came off with very little effort. Thank you for the recommendation of a great product, and she included pictures. Well, our pleasure, Ann. That's what we do as GLers. We help each other out. And you know exactly how to use the bugs be gone and get the most out of the product. Spray it on, let it set, and then wash it off with ease. 3 Seafoam products every GLer should have on hand. Get yourself a couple, 2-3 bottles of Bugs Be Gone. Get the Deep Creep. You're going to love that, the penetrating oil. And, of course, get the Seafoam motor treatment to keep your cylinders happy. It's the GLer's Car Care Kit. Our own local company with a global reach. Our friends at Seafoam.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This update brought to you by North American Banking Company. For those of you on the town council, the 30 seconds of the last break are why I can not talk music with these guys anymore, just so you know.
I didn't say a word.
I didn't say a word.
Flirting with the Devil by Van Hatchet.
No. Van Hatchet. Minnesota state lawmakers, as Joe alluded to earlier, adjourned their 2025 regular legislative session before the midnight deadline, remaining deadlocked on several key budget bills. The House and Senate met all weekend, reconvened Monday morning, and met on and off all day and night, but a special session will be necessary to finish up the biggest parts of the budget. The final budget bill to make the deadline was the state government finance bill. It appears that this is the 7th of 16 budget bills needed to pass a balanced budget. However, the biggest parts of the budget remain in limbo, including K-12 education, human services, and health. Combined, they represent more than half the state budget. Special session will have to be called, and then the clock will start ticking toward June 30th. If there's still not a budget deal by then, the state will enter a partial government shutdown for any parts of the state government not yet funded. Minnesota hasn't had a government shutdown since 2011. Star Tribune reporting the Minnesota Court of Appeals yesterday dealt a blow to the pursuit of murder convictions by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office against Derek John Thompson in the deaths of 5 young Somali women in a car crash 2 years ago. The Attorney's Office was attempting to include evidence from Thompson's previous criminal conviction in California in the trial, arguing similarities in the 2 crimes showed a pattern of behavior. After a Hennepin County judge ruled the evidence inadmissible, the Attorney's Office appealed. In a 19-page opinion, the Court of Appeals affirmed the district court ruling. Thompson's trial is set to begin next week on several counts of third-degree murder and criminal vehicular homicide. Charges allege he was driving a rented Cadillac Escalade 95 miles an hour on Interstate 35W in 2023 when a state trooper began following him. Thompson took the Lake Street exit in Minneapolis, maintained his speed through a red light, and crashed into a car. Thompson is the son of former Democratic State Rep John Thompson. He allegedly fled the scene before being arrested. Police found a loaded Glock pistol and more than 2,000 fentanyl pills, among other drugs, in the Escalade. A federal jury has already found Thompson guilty of illegal possession of a firearm and intent to distribute the fentanyl last year. A sentencing date for that conviction has not yet been set. Back in 2020, Thompson had pleaded guilty to 3 felonies in Santa Barbara District Court in California. That conviction stemmed from a 2018 case where Thompson rented a car, sped away from police, exited the highway, hit a woman with his car, pinned her against a retaining wall, and fled the scene on foot. The woman that Thompson hit was left with a fractured pelvis, broken arm and ribs, head trauma, and internal bleeding. Thompson was sentenced to 8 years in prison, released in 3. 6 months after being released is when the Minneapolis crash happened.
I read that the California stuff will not be admissible here.
That actually was the lead of that story.
Yeah, that was what John just said.
Well, I was just saying that was
Right. You reiterate that for effect.
Thank you.
Yes.
You guys also remember the quote that John had when he was apprehended by police?
John who?
John Thompson.
There were many.
He just said, can we hurry this up? I got S to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you had just killed 5 young women.
Oh, you're right.
Before their graduation date.
How long will it take before we can put this guy away forever? But it's just taking their time, aren't they? I wonder if Mary has some sympathy for him, and maybe he doesn't really.
Well, she tried to get the stuff from California, as
Yeah, it
John
sounds
just
like
mentioned.
she's going full force against him here.
Yeah.
Mary, I wonder how you'd feel if you were pinned against a car and you broke your pelvis and had a traumatic head injury. And would you still have the sympathy?
I think you misunderstood.
She's trying to go after him.
She's the one who was trying to get the California
I
stuff.
apologize to Mary Morreality.
That's the one we won't hear too
I don't
often.
think I'd go that far, Joe.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, let's just be honest. I'll say this: if it was 5 white girls instead of 5 Somali girls that were killed, would she have the same?
Yeah, I believe she would.
Well, this is such a vile crime that how can she get away with not being focused on it?
Okay.
Oh, the rain is pouring across much of Minnesota. The northern section of the state is missing out on the much-needed precipitation and instead under a red flag warning. That warning is in effect until 9 o'clock tonight due to extreme fire risk conditions covering Beltrami, Cook, Itasca, and Couchiching counties. It also covers Lake and St. Louis counties, where 3 wildfires continue to burn.
So the rain we're experiencing is not there?
Correct.
I see.
2 children were injured yesterday when a school bus crashed into a playground outside Creative Early Learning Center at the intersection of Nicollet Avenue and 60th Street West. A full-size school bus appeared to have plowed over playground equipment, and the remnants of a green swing set were wrapped around the bus's front tires. 3 kids in total were on the playground at the time of the crash, 2 taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities add that there were also 2 children on the bus who were not injured. Minneapolis Public Schools confirmed in a statement that it had contracted the bus company. No info was immediately available on how the bus managed to crash into the playground. Police said the bus was headed west on 60th Street West, approaching Nicollet Avenue when it drove off the road into the playground. MPD says the bus also crashed into an SUV. The exact circumstances are still being investigated. And a collection of items that belong to Mary Tyler Moore and has a connection to the Twin Cities is up for auction. Moore, of course, starred in the 1970s sitcom The Mary Tyler Moore Show, which was set in Minneapolis. Moore played Mary Richards, an unmarried independent woman focused on her career as a news producer at the fictional WJM-TV in Minneapolis. This collection for auction includes the large M that was mounted on the wall of her on-screen apartment, as well as 3 renderings of the statue of Mary Tyler Moore on Nicollet Mall and an unused ticket to the 1977 series finale of the show. The auction begins at 11 in the morning on Wednesday, June 4th.
Is the statue of her throwing her hat in the air still on the wall?
Yes, right?
I'm surprised that hasn't been destroyed.
Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from Mr. Reavers.
Thank you, Johnny. Let's talk about my friends at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. First, let me hit the graphic here. There you go. Hofferman Water and Connecticut. Now is the time. It's the season to upgrade your water treatment system, because right now, through the end of the month of May, it's the anniversary sale going on at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. Here's the deal. $500 off a K5 reverse osmosis system, a free A200 drinking water system with the purchase of a Premier Series softener, and half off basic installation for any new 1-year rental contract. Here's the deal. They also offer 0% interest and same as cash financing with approved credit. Whether your water stinks, stains, or just doesn't taste right, they've got your solution. So call Hofferman Water Conditioning today and say goodbye to problem water for good. I did it a number of years ago, and it's made an amazing difference in the quality of my water, and it will do the exact same thing for you. But your first step is you have to get on that schedule and have them come out for that free water analysis. And you can do that one of 2 ways. Give them a call directly at 612-895-2440 or visit their website, which is, of course, HoffermanWater.com. Either way, you can book that appointment, but if you go on that website, you can also see every single water treatment system that they have to offer, and they are the absolute best. 612-895-2440 or visit HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Innovative garage flooring, always going the extra mile. When they redo your floors, what they will do is they will scrape all the old SpaghettiOs that you have when you were eating out in the garage and you drop them, Kenny Olson.
Yeah, I'm listening.
They will clean it and scrape it, and the next time SpaghettiOs hit that floor, you would want to pick them up and eat them because it's going to look so nice.
I'm looking at the video. They do a nice floor.
I'm telling you, people, it will transform your garage. It makes it a little brighter than just boring old concrete. And they can polish the concrete as well, but they've got a great warranty. They do commercial, industrial, and residential. They've got 30 years under their belt, and they will polish the concrete as well as install resonance systems. Their showroom is in Blaine, so you can take a look. But go online. They've got a great website that will show you everything they have, and that's innovativegarageflooring.com. When I had my transformation years ago in my garage, it was beautiful. So if you're tired of boring, cracked, stained garage doors, get in touch with Innovative. Did I say doors?
Yeah.
Sorry. They won't do anything with your doors, but they'll close the door when you're done. 763-291-0110. 763-291-0110. And it's still not too late if you're having that late garage graduation party. It will be the envy of everyone there. 763-291-0110. InnovativeGarageFlooring.com.
Yeah. I had mine done about 6 years ago. Life-changing.
It is.
Just
It looks
wonderful.
so... You can pick the colors. You can pick how thick you want it.
Life-changing?
Life-changing.
All right.
That's
It's
correct.
life. Where were you for my ad? Jump
Sorry.
in there.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let's move on to the news, national and international. President Trump visiting Capitol Hill this morning to try and pressure unruly Republican lawmakers to get on board with his agenda. In a closed-door meeting with the House Republican Conference, the president urged fiscal conservatives to give up efforts to expand Medicaid cuts and moderates to drop their drive for further blue state tax relief, pushing them to unite around what he calls his one big, beautiful budget reconciliation bill. Don't bleep around with Medicaid, according to attendees, is what he told them. Trump's visit comes at a high-stakes moment. House Speaker Mike Johnson has said he wants to vote on the package as soon as tomorrow, with passage no later than the coming Memorial Day weekend. But party factions remain far apart on a series of sticking points. Republicans can afford only a few defections to get the bill through the House, and right now there are clear differences that remain. The bill also contains a provision that could set up the showdown between the executive and judicial branches that everyone has assumed is coming. The provision would significantly limit the power of federal courts to enforce any contempt of court penalties. It essentially bans federal judges from enforcing contempt of court penalties that arise from violating court orders. That move is being seen as a direct attempt to undermine the judiciary's ability to hold the government accountable when it disobeys court orders, something the Trump administration has been trying to do. Ukraine's European allies slapping new sanctions on Moscow this morning, a day after that phone call between U.S. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin failed to produce a breakthrough on ending the 3-year-old war in Ukraine. German Foreign Minister Johann Vadaful said in addressing the sanctions, "We welcome the fact that Ukraine is still prepared to do this. We note with disappointment that Russia has not yet taken this decisive step, and we will have to react to this." Diplomatic efforts have seen little progress in halting the fighting, including that phone call between President Trump and Putin, and Friday's direct talks between Russia and Ukrainian delegations in Istanbul were unsuccessful. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. clinched the political support needed to become the nation's top health official by pledging to work within the old federal system for approval and use of vaccines. However, now it looks like his regulators are promising big changes that cloud the outlook for what shots might even be available. The Food and Drug Administration will soon unleash a massive framework for how vaccines are tested and approved. That coming yesterday from Commissioner Marty McCary. Details are not yet public. McCary and other Trump administration officials already have taken unprecedented steps that raise uncertainty about certain vaccinations, including COVID-19 vaccinations and the full approval of Novavax's shot. They've also suggested the seasonal tweaks to match the latest circulating virus strains are new products requiring extra testing. President Trump signing the Take It Down Act yesterday, a bipartisan law that enacts stricter penalties for distributing non-consensual explicit images, including deep fakes and revenge porn. The bill criminalizes the publication of such images, whether they're authentic or AI-generated. Whoever publishes the photos or videos can face criminal penalties, including fines, imprisonment, and restitution. First Lady Melania Trump lobbied for the bill, which was co-sponsored by the unlikely pair of Senators Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar. Cruz said he was inspired to act after hearing that Snapchat refused for nearly a year to remove the AI-generated deepfake of a 14-year-old girl. American biotech firm Regeneron is buying 23andMe, the genetic testing company. 23andMe recently filed for bankruptcy. The price will be $256 million. Well, that seems like a lot. Just 4 years ago, 23andMe's peak value was $6 billion. A first mover in the emerging industry of personal genomics, 23andMe was founded in 2006 and gained popularity, offering at-home saliva tests. Named Time's Invention of the Year in 2008, the company sold over 12 million DNA tests but failed to find a sustainable business model, most notably because many customers only needed the product the one time.
John?
Yes?
Why did its value fall?
Because nobody's using it anymore.
I can help you.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, wasn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but there was a pretty significant lawsuit. But B, there were a lot of issues that arose at home when they realized, kid number 3 might not be the product of.
Well, I have some kids I used to have. It turns out none of them are mine.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
so you're off the hook.
Yeah.
Nobody is really shocked by that news.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. There were several lawsuits with that company, right, Johnny?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
We found out little Doug was.
Well, there was
he was from
great
down
story.
the block. Yeah.
Mike and I did this story. This was maybe a year or two ago, where they decided, "Hey, we're going to do this family gathering," and Mom sprinted from the other room to tackle the person that was holding the old kit.
Oh boy.
Interesting.
Sure.
There's
a lot of problems out there.
Mom had some fun in her day, didn't she?
Yeah.
There were 3 companies, I think, that were big, and 2 of them still are doing okay, but 23andMe, I had read, was for some reason not.
Yeah.
Netflix is stepping in to save Sesame Street. The streaming giant has inked a deal with Sesame Workshop for new episodes of the long-running children's show just months after Warner Brothers Discovery opted not to renew its output deal for the program in a strategic shift at its streaming service, Max. In a notable change from the HBO deal, new episodes of Sesame Street will also run day and date on PBS and the PBS Kids app, ensuring they are easily accessible. Sesame Street has been available on PBS for more than 50 years during the HBO deal. The episodes, though, debuted on PBS months after their HBO premieres. The deal with Netflix and PBS not only provides much-needed financial stability, also provides expanded access to the program for free, an extremely unusual arrangement for Netflix.
Go ahead, John.
You go ahead.
In 2023, 23andMe agreed to a $30 million settlement to resolve more than 40 class action lawsuits stemming from a data breach that occurred that year. The lawsuits allege that 23andMe failed to adequately protect their user data and notify affected parties promptly after the breach. The settlement covers nearly 7 million different people whose personal information was compromised in the breach.
Yeah, but if they were worth $6 billion, 30 million is nothing.
Well, but if they realize that their data is compromised, no one's going to use their product anymore.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of children's shows, I stumbled on a channel the other night that shows nothing but cartoons. Looney Tunes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
And I got to thinking, okay, I grew up watching those cartoons.
Yeah.
And people, they annihilate each other with sledgehammers and cannons and shotguns.
You're burned to a crisp and you fall in pieces.
And falling off cliffs and everything. But generally speaking, we're not screwed up. But the modern kid is. And they can't watch any of that. I don't get it. There it is.
There's Joe. He's got his milk and cookies.
Did you discover the channel Boomerang?
No, it's I don't know what it is.
Right? MeTV cartoons.
I guess it's MeTV.
There's a new MeTV cartoons that started about 3-4 months ago. It's all cartoons from when we grew up.
And the plots they go through to try to kill each other are hilarious.
Locally owned?
That's what Boomerang is, John.
MeTV, yeah. Well, but maybe he was watching Boomerang, but MeTV is the new one that started about 4 months ago.
My point is, kids 75 years ago weren't as screwed up as kids are today.
You mean when Elmer would blast Daffy Duck's face and it would spin
from
around
2
his
inches
head?
away? Yeah.
Foghorn Leghorn was my father. I mean, he is the person I look to for fatherly advice.
Yeah.
I loved when he was playing hide and seek with the smart kid. That boy's going to need a slide rule to find me in here. And he comes with a slide rule and opens it up and finds where he is right away.
That's not violence.
Oh. Don't play with anvils. Don't drop an anvil on
a guy's head.
Kids learn that. I learned don't mess with anvils.
And the Roadrunner was always falling off a cliff.
The always available anvil.
The coyote.
Right. Coyote was falling off the cliff. That channel, by the way, is all stuff from when we grew up. Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, Baby Looney Tunes, the Jetsons, Casper, Popeye, the Smurfs, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, Underdog, on and on and on.
Who do you hate more, Joe? The Roadrunner, Tweety Bird, or that mouse, Jerry?
I don't like Jerry.
No, Tweety Bird's the most annoying character on
the
the
mouse
planet.
is very annoying.
I'm with Chris. This is one of the few things Chris and I agree on.
But Jerry was trying to merely survive.
Yeah, he didn't do a good job.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
He's still with us.
He always killed the cat, right?
Well, I mean, he got
or
the
he would
best
set
of
the
him.
cat on fire, or put dynamite in the cat's food,
Right.
or whatever. Yeah.
Tweety was a smart ass.
Yeah.
There's no way around.
But he acted like he was just a widow guy. No,
Yeah, I'm just a
bleep you,
widow.
Tweety Bird.
My
Tweety
kids,
was-
when they were real young, used to call it Jerry and the Mouse.
Yeah.
But it was Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry was not the cat.
Right.
Yeah, close enough. And while drive-thrus are typically relegated to fast food, the Idaho Falls Public Library has opened its own drive-thru to help residents more easily access books and other items. According to a news release from the city
Welcome to the Idaho Falls Library. Can I take your order?
According to a news release from the city of Idaho Falls, the drive-thru opened this past Monday for library members.
Got any potatoes in there?
Residents can either go online or call the library and order a book to be picked up through the drive-thru. The release states the books are ready within 2 business days, and the library has bags of age-appropriate children's books available for sale.
I got it. I have a question, Johnny.
Yes.
If you're that lazy that you can't get out of the car to get into the library, but you're willing to drive to the library, why wouldn't they just have a means to deliver the book to your house?
That'll be coming. And you, as the taxpayer, will pay for
it. Well, a bookmobile, wouldn't that be kind of a... It's not a delivery, but you go to the bookmobile to pick it up.
John, thank you very much.
Sure.
It was just fantastic. I want to tell you that this rain's got to stop, the cool weather's got to stop, and we're right back to the electric bicycle.
If it keeps on raining, the
riding
levee's going to
season.
break.
Patrick is serious. He's going to EcoFun. He's very concerned about the size of the seat, and I don't blame him.
Yes, I need a banana seat.
He wants a nice, comfortable, wide seat. They can set you up with anything at EcoFun.
Tractor seat.
Get a Scoot Star electric bike, and get Kaylin to take it outside, put it in the parking lot, take it for a spin, figure it all out, get the height right, the tires right, the seat right. It's just a wonderful opportunity to get the right electric bike. All of the electric bikes at EcoFun are in stock, and they were pre-tariff. In addition to that, there's Yamaha Wave Runners and motorcycles of different brands and gas-powered scooters and youth recreational gas-powered equipment and helmets, apparel, side-by-sides and 4x4s and do-si-dos and 8x8s. They got everything at EcoFun. If you have not been to an EcoFun store, it is fun. EcoFun and Forest Lake, and still some generators.
I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, what do you got?
And we are thrilled to extend our heartfelt congratulations to Kaylin, our very first salesperson who graduated from the University of Northwestern, St. Paul, on Saturday.
Yep.
She has been an invaluable asset, so just congratulations to the family.
I've learned she's staying in the business.
Well, she's smart.
She's the recognized expert on electric bikes in this country. EcoFun Motorsports is in Forest Lake / Columbus on 97, immediately west of 35. You can't miss it. And down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and a wonderful, fun website, EcoFunMotorsports.com.
Minutes to kill, Joe.
That's not the way I look at it.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
I love when he bites on the hook right before we come back. A beautiful lawn? What is a beautiful lawn, fellas? How far away is it?
It's just a click away.
It's just a click away. Where do I click, fellas?
ProfessionalTurf.com, Ken.
You go to that website, schedule yourself a free lawn care analysis and estimate. Dave, the owner of ProTurf, an old friend of the program, he does it the GL way, well, which means in this case, he's going to have a ProTurf Pro go out to your house and analyze the situation. Every lawn is different. And they're going to come up with anywhere from 3 to 5 step fertilizer and weed control plan that's environmentally safe, made for your lawn, and guaranteed for superior results. That means no broadleaf weeds, no dandelions, none of that crabgrass nonsense. Just a beautiful, lush, thick yard that will be the envy of the neighborhood. Dave's been doing this since 1982. He's learned a thing or two. He knows what we like, and he'll give it to us. Schedule that free in-person lawn care estimate today at professionalturf.com.
Yeah.
A UFO slammed into a U.S. fighter jet over Arizona, cracking the canopy, protecting the pilot, and forcing the $63 million jet to land. According to the FAA, the F-16 Viper was hit by an orange and white UAS. We have a new euphemism. That's not a euphemism, is it? What do you call those? An anagram?
Anagrams?
No, what word am I looking for? It stands for Uncrewed Aerial System.
An acronym.
Acronym. Thank you, Matt.
I don't know where that came from.
Did you say an anagram?
I have no idea. Within a day of the collision, there were 3 more. This was in January of 2023. I think we're only getting it released now because the government is stingy. Within a day of this collision, there were 3 more unidentified aircraft sightings over the Air Force's Berry Goldwater Range, where the fighter was damaged. Goldwater Range is an expanse of desert along the Arizona-Mexico border where the military practices air-to-air and air-to-ground combat. The F-16 Viper was flying in a restricted place near Gila Bend, Arizona, when it was hit by the object at the rear of the canopy, the glass bubble that protects the pilot. No injuries, but the new details come as a stunning report from the Department of Defense All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. Shows there have been hundreds of UFO reports made in recent years, and Arizona is becoming the nation's new UFO hotspot. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office serves as a centralized department which looks into all things related to unidentified aerial phenomena and reports which could impact national security or air safety. Now I'm looking at photographs and maps. And
do you know what another name for an uncrewed aerial system is?
A drone.
Right.
Yeah.
But so it was a drone.
Not one of our drones, though. It was a Mars drone.
Where does it say that in the story?
I'm telling you what it was.
Okay.
I'm looking at a different version of the story that said it was most likely a cartel drone.
Cartel drone.
Because they have a lot of drones in that area, the cartels.
So this wasn't...
Sorry, buddy.
This wasn't from outer space?
Sorry,
not
buddy.
From Mars, Joe. Sorry.
Swing and a miss, my friend. Take a seat.
It's in the It's in the Daily Mail. It has to be true.
Back to the dugout with you.
It has to be true. It's in...
We'll find somebody.
A lot of people.
You know what? We'll find a pinch hitter for you next inning. Don't worry.
A lot of people are reporting a lot of things in Arizona, particularly on the border. A lot of people. And there's a lot of sightings. And they're terrifying the skies. And you're telling me it's the drug cartels.
Yep. Anyway, nice try.
Only because. What's this? Only because they come to us all the way from South Africa. Marloth Park.
Yep.
That's where the traveling Lymans are.
I know.
In Mpumalanga Province, South Africa.
That's way out there. That's a ride.
Well, it was on this day.
May 20th.
You two.
Yeah.
You two
what
are
day
so
is this, Chris?
lovable.
May 20th.
Well, on this day in 1882, 10,000 trout and salmon were planted in Rice County's Cedar Lake.
Oh, I love Cedar Lake.
Salmon.
I'm going to go down for a pontoon ride on Cedar.
Salmon?
Yeah.
How'd they fare?
I wonder if they're still there.
I was going to say probably not well. They probably eat by them carp.
I thought salmon were not a freshwater fish. Look it up. Can salmon be a...
Yeah, of course they are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they're in the ocean and they fight their way back to their
Go up
spawning
to Lake
grounds.
Superior, you ding dong.
Oh,
That's saltwater.
That's whitefish.
No, it's not. I've caught salmon there.
Salmon? Did you eat it? Did you eat it?
Of course.
Was
I
it
did.
good?
No, it tasted like
Tastes like
Salt.
fish.
It was too salty.
like bullhead. But what do I?
Ooh, now I want salmon tonight for dinner.
On this day.
Or grilled cheese. May 20th.
On this day. What's the date?
I said May 20th.
1902. The state... Oh, I'm reading from the wrong page. The State Federation of Afro-American Women's Clubs was organized in St. Paul with the goal of uniting clubs for better communication and productivity. Representatives from clubs in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Duluth attended the meeting. And on this day,
On May 20th.
1927, you should know this. Little Falls native. Listen to you dummies. Little Falls native.
You're
Chuck.
talking about the Nazi?
Lindbergh.
The Nazi, yeah.
The Nazi
He's
sympathizer.
good enough for Lindy. He's good enough for me.
Little Falls native Charles A. Lindbergh began his famous transatlantic flight to Paris, which took 33 1/2 hours.
And Sun Country today can beat it by 6 minutes.
On,
I always say that.
I guess they'll never advertise with us.
No,
will
I
they?
said that because that was one of Kenny's funniest lies he's ever had on the show. Take him about 6 weeks to get there.
On this day,
Today is May 20th.
in 1989, Little Falls native, nope, the 42-mile Root River State Trail opened near Lanesboro. The trail winds through the bluffs of southeastern Minnesota along the site of an abandoned railroad.
Near our friends at Harmony Spirits.
They have
Now, would
trout down there, Joe.
Yeah, would that be a bicycle trail, I wonder?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's not for motorcycles. Not cars.
Well,
It must
bike
be-
trail, yeah.
Must be bikes.
Well, when Pat gets his e-bike, he can take that down
Yeah.
there.
And finally, on this day,
You're talking about May 20th.
in 2007, the Ham Lake fire was finally contained after burning through 75,000 acres of the Superior National Forest and Boundary Water Canoe Area Wilderness Water Area Canoe Area Wilderness.
Did we name that one? I'm not making a joke. Did we?
Yeah.
It was just
Ham-
called the Ham Lake Fire?
Well, isn't that a name?
Okay.
Ham Lake Fire.
Thank you.
The Root River State Trail is a 42-mile paved multi-use trail popular for biking, walking, jogging, inline skating, and cross-country skiing.
Wonderful. It's beautiful country.
What did we learn yesterday? Patrick took this the DA's bike for about a quarter of a mile.
He didn't get very far.
Down in Florida.
Yeah.
I went around the block.
You know, he went around the complex. Drove around the
That ought to do it for
the
today.
condo complex. Well, that did it for today. On
Was it
this
actually
day,
a cul-de-sac? He just
yeah,
did.
it was
Basically, yeah.
he said it was 1/8 of a mile.
1/8 of a mile.
1/8 of a mile.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history.
May 20th.
Well, back in 1956 on this day, the Saints and the Millers engaged in a big brawl at Met Stadium.
Oh, boy.
That would have been the year Met Stadium opened.
Sure, 56. You're right.
On this day,
On May 20th.
in 1987, Bill Lester was named executive director of the Metropolitan Sports Commission. Now, do you think Bill likes being included in a litany of sports disappointments?
Probably not.
On this day,
On May 20th.
in 1990, David Stern called the Wolves and the North Stars. I don't know what that refers to.
Huh?
He was the commissioner of the NBA.
Oh, I wonder if this had to do with them opening Target Center.
I don't know. And finally, on this day,
David?
May 20th.
in 2006, the Minnesota legislature approved funding for what would become TCF Bank Stadium. And again, I don't understand why that's a disappointment. Mr. Lyman just sends them to me. He's not in charge of whether these are disappointments or not. That's for us to decide.
I think you should do some more research.
No, he's doing more work than you guys do, and he's in Africa.
I don't dispute that.
Yeah. He's in Africa, and he provides more content than you do.
And what did you say? Mpumalanga is way out there.
Oompa Loompa?
Yep.
Pumalanga.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, there you have it right there.
What do you got?
Thank you. You never got me the answer on salmon either, did you?
No, they're freshwater.
What? I gave you the answer.
I don't know if I believe it.
I don't like his argumentative tone.
You can see all of that argumentative tone on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, where each and every single day you can watch the show starting right around noon, and you can follow us along with that and subscribe, where you can see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases. However, it's all there for you, where you can interact with the show live. Just look up the Garage Logic YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and also sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. You can sign up right now at garagelogic.com. Yeah.
Don't be mutts.
Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again here in Garage Logic, and now is the time for you to do the same, so do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh, and he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation, and he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice, and he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, a lot to get to today, because the big, beautiful bill, we're waiting on if that's going to get passed, but also, do you think President Trump's going to go after Target the way that he did with Walmart?
I think that if Target comes out and says, we're going to have to raise prices because of the tariffs, the president will go after them like white on rice, just as he went after Walmart over the weekend, when Walmart said in their earnings call, we're going to have to raise prices given the tariffs. And bear in mind that retailers are in a tough spot. Margins for retail are pretty small to begin with. And yes, companies can say, well, we made all this money last year, but stock prices are reflective of not only what the companies have done in the past, but what they indicate or guide to where they're going to go in the future. And if the indication in the future is that business is slowing down, or business is going to be impacted by higher prices, or higher prices even in terms of input costs, that becomes a negative for the stock price, because higher input costs depress margins, and if margins go down, that makes it tougher on the bottom line. Companies can say they're going to cut costs as a way to maintain their margins. And what does cutting costs mean? Well, cutting everything from employees to advertising. That is not good for, we'll say, the employment index. The impact of the tariff or the tariff proposals has not, and I emphasize not, been positive overall. Now, I do get hit from clients. Well, Josh, you've come out and said that the tariffs were stupid. You've come out and said that you're not a tariff guy, and you've come out and said the imposition of these punitive tariffs is a self-imposed or could create a self-imposed economic slowdown or worse. Could you give us some good news? Oh, there's plenty of good news that's out there. Plenty of good news. We could say that manufacturing could see an upswing. We could say that some of the potential international deals that are coming out of these tariff proposals in the form of more money invested in American companies is going to be a positive on at least a longer term basis. We can say the push towards artificial intelligence development and usage is going to be a net positive. And those are places within, I'll say, the economy, within the market that you want to aim at. Over a period of time, the stock market, at least companies that participate in these activities or will benefit from these activities, are going to do well. So I've got plenty of optimism going forward. It's just, as we've said over the course of the last month, we don't like stupidity, and we definitely don't like tariffs. And I do believe that the people that push forward with these tariffs had no idea, zero idea of the impact that they are going to have, at least on the short term, on businesses, both large and small. Now, the tax bill, right now, there are an awful lot of, we'll say, Republicans in Congress, because the Democrats are a no. They are a big no on this tax bill because of their belief that lower taxes only benefit the rich. And the rich, of course, deserve or need to pay more in taxes because it's not fair. So the Democrats are against the big, beautiful tax bill. The Democrats are against the 2017 tax bill being extended longer. And I would say if this tax bill is not passed, then come January 2026, taxes will increase. And of course, the Democrats who voted against it will use this against Republicans in the next election. That leaves it to the Republicans to pass this bill to continue the 2017 tax cuts, which were beneficial across the board to all income groups and did make corporations a lot more competitive on a worldwide basis.
Excellent advice, Mr. Money Talk. And you heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, as always, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your rainy Tuesday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorsement.